Unit 3, Lesson 14, homework. Let's get into it. Um, Claire has 5 yards of ribbon. It takes a half a yard to make a bow. How many bows can Claire make with the ribbon? Flip your page over. Now flip the page over and tell me something about what you just read. Huh? You better be able to tell me something about what you just read, because it's a problem if you just reading stuff and you can't tell me anything about what you just read. Then you're not focused. I need you to focus and lock in on these word problems. Y'all know how we do, okay? So you should be telling me, like, Claire's got a certain amount of ribbon. Um, she needs a certain amount to make per bow. How many bows are we going to be able to make? All right, so now let's read it again and get our key information. Claire has 5 yards of ribbon. It takes half a yard to make a bow. How many bows can Claire make with the ribbon? You should be thinking, 5 yards of ribbon is important. And it also takes a half a yard to make a bow. That's important, half a yard. And we're trying to figure out how many bows. So basically, envision yourself in the problem. You are Claire, okay? You got a bunch of ribbon. Look at all this ribbon you got. It's 5 yards. It's too much for me to hold, but imagine yourself holding out 5 yards of ribbon, all right? And it takes half a yard. Half a yard is probably, I don't know how big. I don't think maybe this big. Like half a yard to make a bow. So think of how many of those half yards can you get to make that amount of bows. So that's basically what they're asking. So when you visualize it, and you imagine yourself with the 5 yards, this huge thing of ribbon, and you're trying to chop it into certain pieces so you can make bows, what's going on? You're trying to chop them into equal pieces, trying to share them equally. You're trying to separate them equally. You should be thinking, Mr. Oliver, we might just be dividing on this one. Well, let's see. All right? Because y'all know in division, you want to ask yourself, what is being divided? Okay, are we dividing the yards of ribbon, or are we dividing the half a yard to make each bow? Think about it. Are we dividing the big long thing of ribbon, or are we just dividing the little pieces into a bigger piece? I don't think it makes sense. I think we probably want to just divide that 5 yards up. All right, so let's start with that. And you know, I like to represent my holes with I keep it simple with rectangles or squares. Ooh, that one looks pretty bad. We'll be all right. I think you guys know what it is. Y'all know my drawing is not always up to par. It's not always up to par. But we're going to get through this, okay? So I got 3 so far, my bad. All right, now we got 5. And we got our 5 yards of ribbon being represented. Now it takes a half a yard to make one bow. How do we represent that half yard? How are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for every one of them, we probably want to chop in half, right? Let's chop. Chop right down the middle. Let's chop it. Chop it. Chop. Right down the middle. Chop it. Chop. All right. As you guys can see, I'm pretty silly today. Mainly because it's really cold out here and I'm trying to find ways to keep moving. So I'm being a little silly. All right, so we're representing this problem with a diagram. We start out with our 5. We represent our halves. So how many bows can we make? Let's count it out. I have no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we got our amount of bows. And let's go ahead and we did that. We went ahead and 5 divided by 1/2 equals how many? 10, right? All right, so now I also want us to take what we just did and look and try and come up with a multiplication expression to solve this problem, okay? I'm not even going to help y'all with this one, but I want you to use your answer and try and tie in what we've been doing when we've been making connections between division and multiplication. Okay? So try and think of a way that you could pull a multiplication expression out of this that also represents our answer. All right? Do your best with this one. Help me out. Okay? And yeah, yeah, it'll be all right. And y'all got lucky. I only gave you one problem for the homework tonight. That's crazy. I must be tripping. All right.